Everyone has their game, the title that defines them, the series they might have grown up with and never grew out of, the game that when someone points to you, they think, oh, there's that guy who likes Devil May Cry. You met her before? She's real big into Ready, Steady, Cook on the Wii. I have a few of those because autism is a hell of a thing that has me flip-flopping between interests at the drop of a hat, but the most prominent one, aside from Pokemon and Ratchet and Clank, has to be Rock Band. I've been into the latter two for far longer, but nothing gripped me as hard as it did when I wriggled my way into the plastic instrument rhythm gaming scene. After a couple failed attempts, my first time using a plastic guitar was playing Everlong on Guitar Hero World Tour at a neighbour's house and not understanding that I didn't need to strum and tap each note, and after failing before the first verse, I dropped out and didn't touch a rhythm game again for a couple years. Fast forward to my time with Guitar Hero on tour for the DS a couple years later and realising, hey, I'm actually kinda goated at this. Then later picking up Rock Band 3 and Lego Rock Band, then picking up the rest of the Guitar Hero and Rock Band games over the following years, and now I'm sitting on a library of 1,200 songs in Rock Band 4, as well as making a US Xbox account to circumvent Rock Band Network songs not being available in Australia for another 600 songs in Rock Band 3, and I have dozens of hours across the Guitar Hero games, and I make my own custom charts for Clone Hero. And yet a smoke on the water full combo still eludes me. This bit pisses me off, leave me alone. So with a roughly 13-year history with faux guitar games and a monetary value tied to my Rock Band DLC library that I shiver in my shorts thinking about, I think I've got a pretty good idea of what makes a good plastic instrument rhythm game. Yeah, so Rock Revolution fucking stinks. Rock Revolution is very funny. So Konami is largely responsible for the rhythm game boom in the late 90s with Beatmania and Dance Dance Revolution, but a lesser known fact is that they're the ones responsible for the very first rhythm game to use a guitar peripheral. This tiny little thing that looks more at home in the hands of a small child than a gamer was used to play Guitar Freaks. Basically Guitar Hero with mostly Japanese songs and only 3 frets. While Guitar Freaks and its drum-focused spin-off Drum Mania are still going to this day, problems with the guitar peripheral pattern prevented the series from properly making its way to the West. And even if it did, it probably wouldn't have been as successful as when Activision and Harmonix took a swing at the concept with Guitar Hero on the PlayStation 2 in 2005, with a snazzy 5-fret guitar and more well-known rock classics from the aforementioned Smoke on the Water to Ace of Spades and Killer Queen. 2 years later, Harmonix jumped ship and joined up with EA to create Rock Band, which was Guitar Hero, but now you could also buy a bundle with a microphone and a drum set that no one wanted to play because they could never work out the kick pedal and it made them feel stupid. While Guitar Hero was handed off to Neversoft, resulting in the very fondly remembered Guitar Hero 3. Even if I think that game has rubbish overcharting tendencies for the sake of difficulty inflation, and the less we talk about shit like this, the better. Either way, Guitar Hero and Rock Band dominated the newly formed market, and by dominate I mean there was literally no other competition. It was Guitar Hero or it was Rock Band, those were your choices, until Konami decided they'd try to pinch a piece of the plastic instrument pie in 2008 with their attempt at a Rock Band clone, except where the Konami series was a pioneer in the genre, Rock Revolution was playing catch-up with 2 fully established and well-respected franchises that were pumping out multiple games a year. Take a guess how that turned out for them. Pretty well, actually. I mean, if 3,000 copies in launch week counts as pretty well. Yeah, Rock Revolution launched around the same time as Rock Band 2 and Guitar Hero World Tour and was comparatively met with violent beatings in the reviews. Dated graphics, vague and inaccurate notation, lacking the suite of features the other 2 games had, bad audio. Very few people have positive things to say about it, and it's kind of been the laughingstock of the guitar clone rock hero band community ever since. So I figured, hey, I love being tortured. I want nothing more than to have my ballsack twisted and contorted. Let's play Rock Revolution and see if it really is as bad as everyone says. Why not? Dude, I could be doing literally anything else right now. So right off the bat, after the lone JPEG title screen, no bands battling each other atop muscle cars or Saturday morning cartoon hypno episodes here, we're pretty unceremoniously thrown into the title screen in the main menu with a fairly standard set of options. Quick play and multiplayer, the usual stuff, rehearsals, your practice mode, and character select is also listed here because for some reason you have to choose your character before going into any other mode. They're all generic as hell, by the way, and the only reason I chose Riker is because he shares a name with my lizard sonar. He's lucky his name has an iron on a wire, else Konami and I would have beef. So we've chosen our stupid idiot rocker, now it's time to head into the career mode. Did you play Rock Band or Guitar Hero 3? Same deal. Work your way up through several tiers of songs from your easy pop rock and glam to your late 80s and early 90s metal and prog playing at different venues and stuff. There's 5 tiers, each one has 2 records with 6 challenges each, and beating 3 challenges in these 2 records unlocks a 3-song show, rinse and repeat 5 times. But there are some neat ideas here. Yes, I am going to praise Rock Revolution. Truly, I am a pioneer. Each record has 6 challenges. 4 of these are just beating a song without failing out, but 2 of them are a bit more involved and arcadey. One type of challenge has you avoiding poison notes. Hit 5 of these and you straight up fail the song. One has the note highway speed up the longer you keep your note streak, and another has you start at a lower difficulty but the song ramps up to higher difficulties at predetermined points, which is kinda moot when you play exclusively on expert like I do anyway, but for inexperienced players, this one's probably a good bit of fun. The 4th and final type of challenge is one where you play through a section of a song a couple of times to learn it before the game hides the notes and you have to play the section back as perfectly as possible. I really like this one, or the idea of it anyway, because being forced to repeat the same section twice before your actual attempt every time is maddening, and now the verse riff from Round and Round by Rat gives me a hernia whenever I hear it. Also for a second reason I'll reveal later, but we'll get to that. Each tier culminates in a final show where you pick 3 of the 8 songs from that tier and play them back to back, but guitar solos or other sections are replaced with these freestyle bits where you mash the buttons and strum the ever-loving shit out of the strum bar to create something truly putrid. And Rock Band 4 thought it was ahead of the curve. So the career modes, I don't know, it's fine. Some fun challenges I guess, but it's not all that different from Guitar Hero or Rock Band if you really think about it. And with Rock Band 2 releasing around the same time with its vastly improved World Tour mode where you make fans and cash and sign deals with Hot Topic and get told your performance sucks even though you got 100%, Rock Revolution's attempt feels a little stale. But that might not matter as much if the song list is a banger, right? Yes and no. Okay, baseline, yeah, it's kind of a banger, especially for 2008. There's a lot of stuff here that had yet to appear in any other game in the genre and has taken until pretty recently with Rock Band 4 DLC to appear anywhere else. The tracks they picked are pretty solid and fairly inspired too. Magic Man by Heart, Am I Evil by Metallica, The Spirit of Radio by Rush, Stone Cold Crazy by Queen, Youth Gone Wild by Skid Row, Kiss Me Deadly by Lita Ford. It's not just the usual picks, you know? It is sometimes with Dirty Little Secret by the All American Rejects or Pull Me Under by Dream Theater, but they didn't just go, oh, we've got Metallica, we should obviously go with Enter Sandman. Deep Purple? Well, obviously we gotta do Smoke on the Water. It's genuinely a really good little set list. Emphasis on little, because it's only 41 songs, and by 2008 both Guitar Hero and Rock Band had pushed past 80. But quality over quantity, yeah? Games like Project Diva are, at least as far as I'm aware, great games despite often only shipping with 30 songs. So they make up for it with high quality visuals, a bunch of fun features, and thoughtful charting and note placement. This does not describe Rock Revolution in the slightest. Thus, to lead into my next point, esteemed Remy Raccoon viewers, I now present to you Chop Suey.
Wake up! Put my shit, put a little makeup. I discuss a bit of weight up. When you think the kids up on the table, create another fable. You wanted to. Put my shit, put a little makeup.
Just like you remember it, Rock Revolution shipped with 41 songs. Only 2 of these are the original recordings. Paralyzer by Finger 11 and Given Up by Linkin Park, for some reason, are the only songs that were not cover versions. Just for comparison, 4 of the 48 main songs in Guitar Hero 2 in 2006 were original recordings. The following year, 54 of the 73 songs in Guitar Hero 3 were masters, as well as 51 of the 58 songs in Rock Band. By Rock Band 2 and Guitar Hero World Tour in 2008, none of the songs were covers, and every version was an official master recording. So when you loaded up Beat It, you were getting Michael Jackson. So, just to reiterate, Rock Revolution in 2008 has 2 master recordings in a year where the rest of the genre had ditched cover versions entirely. Now, this wouldn't be so bad if the covers were all good. Look back at Guitar Hero 3 and Rock Band, songs like Mississippi Queen, Rock You Like a Hurricane, Train Kept a Rollin', Ballroom Blitz. Very obviously not the originals, but close enough that it still feels like you're playing the real thing. And I actually kind of prefer the Rock Band version of Ballroom Blitz, honestly, but yeah, those covers were largely pretty good. And in Rock Revolution, there are some good covers. Magic Man, Pull Me Under, Dr. Feelgood. If I were on a deserted island with an iPod and I only had these cover versions to listen to, I'd die because I'd have a poor survival instinct and I rely on 2 liters of vanilla Coke a day, but they're still good. arguably all the instrumental and backing tracks, the guitar, bass, percussion and keyboards, are really well done, owing to the ingenuity and prowess of Steve Ouimet, who handled the guitar and bass on the majority of the game's songs. I'd expect no less from the guy who did The Devil Went Down to Georgia in Guitar Hero 3. Take this cover of Megadeth's Holy War's The Punishment Due. This sounds kinda sick. This is making me sick! Steve Ouimet actually has a video on the topic of how he handled making the covers for the game, starting out doing half of the setlist to handling the whole thing when the other guitarists bowed out of the project. This left him to find musicians for hire, record guitar and bass, as well as produce, convert live drums to MIDI, and separate drum samples for 39 songs, all in just 5 months. For comparison, Ouimet would be able to spend 3 to 4 weeks on making a single cover for the Just Dance games. This also explains how the vocals for at least half of these songs sound so jarring. Ouimet did the best he could with what little time he was given, and in some cases the covers turned out to be real slappers. For example, he managed to get Ripper Owens, the lead singer for Judas Priest following Rob Halford's 7-year absence from 1996, for the cover of Heading Out on the Highway. Ouimet also got the original lead singer of Rat on the cover of Round and Round, and that version's pretty spot on compared to the original. The vocals on The Spirit of Radio by Rush and Pull Me Under by Dream Theater end up being pretty great too. There's some good stuff here, soured by things like the aforementioned Chop Suey. Or the cover of Are You Gonna Be My Girl that sounds like a barfly doing karaoke on the piss against the wishes of literally everyone else at the bar.
So 1, 2, 3, take my hand and come with me because you look so fine that I really want to make you mine.
You know, I think they made the right call not including playable vocal parts in the game, because imagine trying to sing along to these, man. Although not including vocals is kind of a ding against you when you're trying to compete with Rock Band, and also when your reasoning is it could potentially affect the Karaoke Revolution series. But still, it's a mercy. All this and I haven't even talked about how the game feels to play yet. Silly me, how could I forget the worst part of the game? I'm so silly! The actual act of playing guitar in Rock Revolution is similar enough to the competition. Everything quote-unquote works in the same way. Solid coloured notes require you to strum when hitting them, notes with white dots in the middle are hammer-ons and pull-offs that can be tapped if you have a combo going, you know, standard stuff. If I can't fault Rock Revolution for one thing, it's that it at least works. The note highway stretches from top to bottom, which didn't take me much getting used to as a DJ Max Respect player, but would definitely be a spanner in the works for people used to Guitar Hero and Rock Band. The weird thing is how the game handles its equivalent to Star Power or Overdrive. In Guitar Hero and Rock Band, you'd hit specially marked phrases in a song to fill up this meter, then press the select button or tilt the guitar neck up when the meter's at least half filled to double your score multiplier for a short time, as well as fill the crowd meter way faster, which would help prevent it from falling to 0 and making you fail. Here, when you hit enough notes without missing, you'll fill the crowd meter bar up, at which point you press select or tilt the guitar to get a measly fixed point bonus. Okay. This is significantly less engaging than other games, where you use overdrive to save your hide in a tough section you're not very good at, or get heaps of points in sections with a really high density of notes. Instead, you just press the overdrive button when the meter's full and be done with it. It doesn't mechanically fit in with the game at all. There's a total mismatch between the gameplay and scoring system, I think. Then there's the charting itself, the actual notes that you play. Considering that Steve Ouimet was rushed to complete 2 songs a week for 5 months, I have no doubt the dev team was similarly rushed to get the game into a playable state because, I mean, it's playable, but you're getting a better experience going onto YouTube or Chorus or whatever and downloading random songs for Clone Hero, including that guy remyraccoon, who's got a bunch of full difficulty charts currently available, including Ninja Sex Party and the Team Star Boss theme from Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and is working on releasing a 50-song setlist in the near future, and it's going to be so fucking good. I mean, Rock Revolution bad. I'm not sure how to really structure this segment, but I just want to point to some examples of how totally and bafflingly scuffed note placement for this game is. Like, yeah, sure, I make stuff for Clone Hero, and I might not be perfect, but I know a bad chart when I see it, and I don't think it takes a fan of the genre to see how shit it can really get. So here's a really simple example, the main riff on the verses in Magic Man.
Winter nights we sang in tune, played inside the monsoon.
The This doesn't seem like much at first, I'm sure, but the fact that these two notes are not the same, despite representing the same chord, is the most amateurish charting mistake you can make. Let alone there just being nothing between these chords, despite clearly being able to hear these little, muted plucks? I don't know, I played guitar for like 6 months, I don't know the terminology. One of the more egregious examples, I think, is The Spirit of Radio. Love that song, one of my favorites in both Guitar Hero 5 and Rock Band DLC. I was kinda stoked Rock Revolution chose this as their rush pick over Limelight or Tom Sawyer or something, and then I played it and went from stoked to provoked. Full disclaimer, I am playing this on Expert. This isn't me playing the hard chart and pretending it's Expert in the name of false criticism. This is just what the Expert chart looks like. Here's Guitar Hero 5's version, and whoa, wait a second, is that a good chart? What I'm assuming happened here is that they figured that if they charted it accurately, it might be a little too hard for the tier that it appears in, that being the 4th out of 5. Well then just take Last Resort from the 5th tier and swap it for this, dummy! And that wouldn't even be a great excuse anyway, since you have stuff like Spoon Man in tier 2. Ooh, I could go on about the messed up tiering if I wanted to, but I do not want to be known for an hour-long video essay on fucking Rock Revolution. Sometimes it feels like songs get undercharted because they weren't quite sure how to tackle a specific part. For example, Joker and the Thief. This little didgeridoo mimicking riff is one of the most iconic parts of the song, and they just decide not to chart it for whatever reason? It's like if Nintendo put Waluigi Pinball in a new Mario Kart but put a glider ramp right before the pinball table itself. Anyway, question. Has this ever happened to you? Oh man, Rock Band's charting is simply too accurate. I can't possibly hit all these awkwardly placed strums and overcharted hopos. If only a game with no understanding of pitch theory came along and boiled solos down into easy to understand but very crappy looking fast strummy bits. Say no more, dumb fuck. Because with Rock Revolution, we'll simplify notation so hard, you'll swear you were playing the chart to an entirely different song. With such atrocities as... And also... Oh, and how could we forget? Wow! Incredible! Order now and we'll send you a free copy of Enthusia Professional Racing to use as a coaster. Konami, because we don't know what the fuck we're doing anymore. Yeah, so this happens a lot. Almost every solo is like this. Many sections where the guitarist may be doing hammer-ons and pull-offs and sliding all over the fretboard and just tapping really fast are represented by extremely basic trills and tremolos, that is, strumming the same note in quick succession or alternating between tapping the same two notes. There's absolutely no nuance to the guitar solo notation here, picking the easiest, laziest and crummiest looking route and making what should be the most fun part of the song a total letdown, to put it lightly. These charting issues plague every song in the game, whether it's a lack of understanding of pitch theory, where the same tone can be represented as different notes, or different tones can be represented as the same note, or just notes straight up being out of time with the music. This has the unfortunate effect of turning those aforementioned challenges where you learn a section of a song then repeat it back with no notes on screen into an absolute chore, because I swear I'll play the section back correctly only to be told I'm to playing guitar what the Doom 3 shotgun is to killing imps from more than 7 centimeters away. If these were amateur charts made by somebody who downloaded Editor on Fire or Moonscraper so they can play their favorite Linkin Park or Lemon Demon song, I would be way more lenient. But this was a full price $60 product being sold to people. I don't think this kind of charting is worthy of a product being sold for $20. And I know that sounds kinda harsh, but it really is just that bad. I hesitate to use a word like incompetent because game development is hard and you just know something was going on behind the scenes, likely some kind of corporate meddling forcing a rushed development cycle or something. But I don't know, it just feels wrong. That's the easiest way to sum up my feelings on not only the charting, but the game as a whole. Rock Revolution feels wrong. Even hitting notes feels wrong. The hit window feels too tight at times and way too loose at others with absolutely no rhyme or reason, and it makes even hitting some of the easier sections in early game a test of patience. It just feels wrong. There's not much else to discuss, mostly because Rock Revolution doesn't have a lot going on otherwise, so rapid fire round. Let's see, the visuals are pretty. pretty crap. Generally, animations don't match up with whatever's playing, with drummers in particular playing whatever the dang heck they feel like, and I especially love getting flashbanged by a white screen in place of actual stage lighting like I'm firing up a Yakuza game in my cold dark room at 1 AM. That's great, thank you Konami. There's a studio mode, which I guess was a response to Guitar Hero World Tour's GH Mix mode, where you could create and share your own crummy covers of anime songs and a Super Mario theme for people to play. It's basically the same thing here. You know, if you remove the ability to place individual notes and only let people choose from predefined samples that sound like us. And also you can't play your own creations afterward, just listen to them. Yeah, basically the same. This whole time I've neglected to mention that not only can you play bass, which isn't even available in career mode, the game also supports drum peripherals, which unfortunately I can't take advantage of because my drums currently find their home in a landfill. But yeah, Rock Revolution has drums. Charting for drums is exactly as bad as it is for guitar, if the few songs I looked at were any indication, but Konami also pushed out their own drum peripheral, and I have officially gazed upon the gates of hell. What the f*** is this? Playing on this Fisher-Price looking square goes in the square hole looking ass thing looks miserable on its own, but the way notes are displayed on screen might force me to have a conniption. Kick notes are represented not as a big bar like in Rock Band, but instead as their own lane in the middle of the highway, which is just asinine. For all the faults with the guitar part of the game, at least the guitar functions more or less the same as its contemporaries. I wouldn't wish this upon my worst enemies. Yes, I would. While Rock Revolution released on the PS3 and 360, it also saw releases on the Wii and DS, and I'm sorry if people were looking forward to me covering these, but you would have to pay me an exuberant, life-changing amount of money to get me to play these for more than 5 minutes. The Wii version is just a bunch of waggling the Wiimote and pressing the C and Z buttons on the nunchuck. It doesn't even support guitar and drum controllers. On a system that has guitar and drum controllers. It's a completely different game for no reason. Kudos to the DS game for actually having vocals though. You know, the one you play on a tiny device in your hands, so if you want to sing, you gotta cram that thing in your face and find a quiet corner secluded from all other sentient life forms to play out of fear of looking like a moron.
Oh, that's good. Hey, what the f*** am I plotting for? What the
Hell, they don't even do something as simple as telling you who performed the original song. White Room was the only song in the game I didn't recognize, but the game couldn't have even been bothered to tell me it was by Cream. Says a lot that the only way I was able to find out was by looking at the game's frickin' Wikipedia page. And if that's not an indication of how Konami simply did not give much of a gosh dang about this game, then I don't know what is. Pick any aspect of Rock Revolution and compare it to Guitar Hero, Rock Band, community-supported clones like Clone Hero and Yarg, or even the recent Fortnite Festival, and it simply will not compare favourably. Every other game has significantly better charting and note placement. Every other game has better animations, even Festival, with whatever the heck this is supposed to be, and no other game has some John Everyman pulled off the street to record the worst vocals you've ever heard this side of Doris by Suicide Silence. Hello, I'm the Nostalgia Raccoon. I remember it, and now you have to with me. Outside of some of the covers actually kicking ass, I struggle to find anything good to say about Rock Revolution. I really don't think there's any good reason to seek out a copy for yourself, even though, surprisingly, you can still pick it up for cheap for the memes if you really wanted to. Cause, I don't know, it's just kinda miserable. The charts aren't fun, the features are lacking, the characters have no character. I'd rather be boiled than have to listen to that Chop Suey cover again. There are no redeeming factors here, and until I get my hands on Power Gig Rise of the 6th String, I can confidently say this is the worst time you can have with 5 frets, a squeaky strum bar, and a whammy bar that falls down and tickles your knee. Rock Revolution is a blatant attempt at capitalizing on the success of Guitar Hero and Rock Band with none of the thoughtfulness or passion, and actively makes playing a plastic guitar miserable. It is one of the worst, technically functional games I have ever played. But do you know how I know this game is bad for real? The gems don't even look tasty. These look like something a 3-year-old would choke on. Now these? I'd scoff these down any day of the week.